Tonight we're going to go through the regular agenda, and after we go through the regular agenda, what we'll do is ask for people to call in, and I'll give you information on that as we get to it. Call in if you have questions for us to answer, and we'll be delighted to answer it to the best of our ability. The interim park manager, Deb Axman, is not here tonight. She has a lot of basic information that we may not have simply because she's doing it on a day-to-day basis. She's managing the park on a day-to-day basis, and she will be able to answer more questions, but we'll do that at our next meeting. Anyway, I'm calling the meeting to order. Meeting is called to order on 5/35, October 25th, 2021. Secretary, please do the roll call.
Bill D.
Here.
Deb A. Excused vacation. Billy here. Dean
Here.
Nancy
Here.
Tom
Here.
Scott
Here.
Jenny absent. Donnie excused medical.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right. I'm going to speak loudly, and I hope the rest of the members of the board will do that because the masks inhibit ability to communicate properly. I assume that we all have read the minutes from the last meeting, the 14 pages of minutes from the last meeting. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes?
Accept.
Dean makes the motion, somebody second?
Second.
Second is discussion. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I'm looking around the room now, and I see a unanimous vote. Thank you. At this juncture, we usually hear from the park manager, but as I said earlier, Deb is not here tonight. She took a week's vacation. She has done an excellent job of filling in as park manager once again. But she will be back in the park tomorrow and will resume managing the park. Although at this point, she has gotten all of the managers of the park to the point where they know their jobs as usual, and they're a really great job. Kudos to her. Let's go this. We're going to talk about committee reports, and I'll start Scott over on my left, and then we'll just move down the line. Are you ready, Scott?
Yeah, I got it.
Take your time. There we go.
Okay, for Club 50, they are going to be enjoying themselves right about now at Jimmy's in having pizza and Stanwood. We've got dinner out like that in a long time. So
Where'd they go, Scott?
Jimmy's.
Oh.
Yeah, they're going to Jimmy's Pizza Place in Stanwood. Okay, and then they're coming up for Club 50, they're having a Halloween decoration contest for the lots, and that's open to anybody in the park, not just Club 50 members. And it's going to be on October 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. There'll be ballots handed out at the ranger stations, Club 50, and the mail center. It'll have all the lot numbers that are participating in the contest. All ballots are to be brought to Club 50 on Saturday the 30th between 6 and 8 p.m. And if someone wants to participate and has not been and is not given Ann Biggs their lot number yet. They need to give her a call, and she told me to give you the number, so here it is. 425-418-6283. And that's,
Why don't you repeat that, Scotty?
okay, yeah. 425-418-6283. And that's been put up on the Pursuit Chemical System. Yeah, that's all I can think of right at the moment.
Okay,
But I've been gone for a week.
that's 1250. All right, Nance? Oh, I'm sorry, John?
I'm sorry for the interruption. I just need to mention, although the video was working fine earlier and we were streaming video, at the moment, it's only streaming audio. So anybody listening who doesn't see a video image, we apologize, and we're going to let the audio continue to run without interruption so people can at least hear the meeting, and we'll figure out the problem later. Sorry.
For those of you still listening in, that was John Godfrey, who's been helping us with the audio-visual setup in here. What?
I do have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Club 50, the daytime activities that they've been doing all along, the regular scheduled activities, the doors are open, so they're open for the card makers, sewing groups if they want, the basket makers, card playing, and as far as I know, we're still going to be open for coffee flash on Friday unless I hear otherwise.
Thank you, Scotty. To continue what I was saying about the audio-visual part of this program, for those of you that can still hear us, you may have lost the picture. We're working hard to get the picture back up to you, but the meeting will go on and you can hear what we're saying. Anyway, Nancy, go ahead.
So the two committees that I work with are the chapel and the Greenbelt Committee. Both are running very smoothly. I did attempt to attend the chapel meeting last month, and I must have had the wrong day and time because nobody was there. So I will follow up on that with Rita. The Greenbelt continues into their solid work, doing a great, really having been good to say about both groups.
The interesting thing about all of this is that there's very little going on in the park right now. There's going to be the Halloween party for the kids, where it's go to the, it's going to be a playfield or the right in back of, front and back of the post office, and there'll be, you'll be able, the kids will be able to pick up a bag of goodies, and then there will be decorations on the cars, and the kids will get to vote on which decorations they like the best, and that's kind of cool. And that will be this weekend, I believe, on Saturday. Next, Dean, tell us about S2 and tell us about the electrical grid.
The grid phase 8 is underway. Blue Sky has started that, building the meter bases. Phase 8 will be the last phase, it will be the longest phase. Should complete second quarter next year, depending on what the winter does to us. So they're off to that. They're finishing cutting over with PUD on phase 7 for the new meters, and getting the power switched over to the new stuff. As far as S2, the infrastructure's all in. And S2, for those who don't know, is the new gate card access control, which should be a lot more accurate and give us a lot more flexibility in passes and whatnot, which more to come on that. That's getting ready to be cut over here in the next couple of weeks. And that should be up and running.
I understand that they're gonna do some testing this week.
They were testing last week, this week, just to make sure it all works before we cut over to the new system.
And they're running a parallel system when they're doing it.
We're still using the old system and paralleling it with the new system, just to make sure everything's accurate, everything's reading correctly. And then we'll pick a day here in the next couple of weeks where we'll close the back gate for a few hours, cut it over, and then we'll close or do something different at the front gate for people coming in and out, which there'll be a kind of an alert coming out on how we're going to do that, but that'll be in the next couple of weeks.
Explain the benefit of switching into a different system, would you please?
The availability of moving into the new system will allow us better reporting in terms of in and out. It'll give us an accurate read instead of this, you come in for a couple hours, we can do a quick pass where you can come in for 3 hours. The rangers don't have to give you a pass, you just come in. If you leave in enough time, you're not charged for the day. It'll automate some of the passes for the guests, things along those lines, and then eventually it could parlay into access control for some of the clubs and other things of that nature later on down the road.
And the operant word there is eventually. This is going to take a while to do, but we will be plugged into all of the clubs and the back gate, the front gate with ease, and we're coming into the 21st century.
Yes.
Okay. Bill, would you like to talk about ERT and other things?
Well, I guess ERT has come along just fine. Pam and Steve are doing a wonderful job. It won't be long and they'll be in charge. I'd like to thank Steve and Stephanie for getting the CPR and AED training done this weekend. And the other committees that I haven't met with right now is the History and the MAC committee.
Bill, hold it for just a minute. I was talking with a member the other day, and she indicated that she wanted to join ERT. How can she get in touch with the committee and get on it? Go ahead. Or I'll just have her call you.
No, it's in the morning line where who to call. Also, you're welcome to come through our meetings the second Thursday here at the Adult Club at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. And we're talking about, whenever we mention mooring lines and telephone numbers and things like that, there are, I think it's still on the back page of mooring lines, where all the numbers, all the operant numbers that you will need is on mooring line. And by the way, mooring line is published several places. It's on Campers Chat, and it's also on the main page for PortSusanCamping.org. So there's no excuse for not having the numbers. You just need to know where they are. Okay, Bill. And next, you want to talk history or?
No, I haven't met with that group yet. I want to talk about the tower up at Compass Station 8. Last week they installed a generator and a cabinet and a shelf light coming from the tower over for the cable to run. We are waiting on the repeater, etc. Should be done in the near future. And also I should have the list of what radios we're gonna require in addition to the ones that we ordered.
Okay. Anything about the tower and whether we're getting new radios and radio frequencies on the tower?
The frequencies are already set. It should have the first 6 channels that we operate off right now. But we're gonna have to get radios for ERT maintenance. And maintenance is gonna need 3 mobile radios. ERT needs 1 mobile radio. And the Rangers are gonna need 2 for the gates and 3 or 4 extra for the vehicles. Plus handhelds.
And basically, this is to improve communications between all of the people that work in the club, so that in an emergency, we will have better inter-club communications. The maintenance will be able to talk more quickly with the Rangers will be able to communicate back, and so we're coming along really well. The club is, as I whispered to Dean here, we're coming into the 21st century, and I think that's great. Bill, do you have anything else?
No, that's it for now.
Thank you, sir. Tom?
Architectural Committee. The Architectural Committee still meeting every Wednesday. Public's invited to ask questions from 10 to 11. Masks are required. We're looking actually for volunteers. We're starting to get a little thin on our volunteers for the architect. We welcome anybody that would like to join us. And we're in the process of going back and reviewing our rules again. And I believe that's going to start next Wednesday. We're starting to be reviewing the rules and making changes along with the Rules Committee, which is making changes right now. That's all I have for the architect. Any other committee you want me to talk a little bit about the Rules Committee?
Yes.
Okay, the Rules Committee, we actually took quite a vacation there for a while because of sicknesses and times of vacation, and we're just getting back into it. We're going to hit it hard this Friday. Actually the next Friday, 5 or 4 Fridays, I have scheduled from noon to 3, where the Rules Committee are going to get together and try to knock this out before the Thanksgiving Friday. I think we can accomplish it with 3 hours per Friday up until that. So I will be more than happy to comment on that on our
Next meeting.
next meeting. I have one other thing that I'm working on is the cafe redesign. I have sketches at this point. I have to get some numbers put together, and then I will be submitting that to the board with a motion to go ahead of remodeling the cafe. That's in my report.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir.
When you're looking at the rules,
Yes,
is
sir.
there an overall objective? I mean, like, there are a heck of a lot of rules. Is there a possibility of reducing the number, perhaps?
We're actually starting with the April 20th, 2019 rules, which after reviewing them, it's 18 pages. Prior to that, there were a lot more pages of rules. So they have whittled it down. We are going to look at what's required or what's maybe unnecessary. So yes, I hope to see that we start maybe opening up a little bit where we're not as restrictive, because there's a lot of things that, you know, we take it a little bit too far, I think, in some sense, that we could be a little more relaxed and not as critical.
Yeah, there's a very delicate balance between too much and too little.
That's correct.
For someone, the three rangers who are on this board, probably more than anybody else, realizes that the rules are very difficult to follow sometimes, and especially when they're 18 pages of it.
Right. And the one thing I find that is probably the most difficult is the interpretation of sometimes the rules. And where one person's background might view it as one way, and somebody's upbringing in that might look at it in another way. And those kind of rules are really tough to make a call on. So we will be reviewing all of them, but I am working with the ones that have the least amount at this point. So we're trying to get even shorter if we can.
What we always run into when you're trying to enforce rules is there are objective measures and there are subjective measures. The objective measures, like 15 miles an hour, you can easily enforce because you have a gizmo, that's a technical term, to shoot a car when it's coming toward you or moving away from you, and the gizmo will show the exact speed of that car. So that's an objective way of judging. However, when you get into the subjective things, and I won't go into what they are, but you all know that it's a matter of opinion in a lot of cases. One man's junk is another man's treasure. It's that kind of thing.
Yes.
How you decide, and what are the criteria that you use to come up with some way to turn a subjective thing into something more objective so that you can enforce it in a fair and honest way. All right. We have several issues that we have to discuss in executive session, but before we do that, let me ask our audio-visual guys if they have figured out a way that you people out there can call us and come up with questions that you want us to answer. Guys, have you figured it out yet?
Well, we're having trouble with the audio video. I do have a question though. We've been having issues here tonight. But we do have a question. Let me see
You have Mike.
Steve, John Godfrey is going to get an assistant who happens to be Steve Idlings. Steve, the question, one of the questions you got?
Yeah, let me pull it back up again here real quick.
Just for all of you out there in television land, we lost a IT person a few months back. He needed to move his family to Las Vegas or the Las Vegas area to make buku bucks. He was making nothing, comparatively speaking, working with us. And he felt that more money was better than less money, so he moved out, and we haven't been able to quite replace him with the level of technical capabilities he had. John and Steve are doing a good job, but they don't have that incredible ability that Jacob had.
Okay, we've got a question from a member. Will the gate cards be changing when the $2 comes online? When the S2 comes online, will the gate cards be changing when the S2 comes online?
Currently, it's currently not planned. We'll use the existing cards.
Same cards.
So we'll be able to use the same card.
Yes.
Excellent.
The other question, I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm going to summarize it from another member, was about the logging up off of Discovery. The member wants to know what's the background with it. Has the tribe communicated well with the park regarding that logging and the vulnerability of those sites regarding the greenbelt and replanting and the Discovery? It's outside of the park, but they're concerned about the effects inside the park.
The environmental impact of that work on our park. I know that Deb is working with one of our board members, the board member who's the liaison from the tribes, to make sure that that area is not impacting on us to the point where it'll disturb the ecology of the area. Stay tuned. We're keeping an eye on it, certainly, and we, as I say, we're working with the tribes to make sure that it doesn't unnecessarily impact our campers over there.
That seems to be all the comments right now that they're pulling up. We're having some internet problems here at the adult club, so that's what's going on.
This is a work in process, gang, so that's just the way life is sometimes. Let's give it a pause. Let's give you people out there an opportunity to try to get in touch with us, and we'll just sit here and chat amongst ourselves for a few minutes and see if we get any more questions. So, how is everybody?
As long as you don't ask about family, that's fine.
By the way, let me explain something about executive sessions while we're in a hiatus here. We've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. There are some things that the board deals with, some issues that the board deals with, that aren't appropriate to be discussed in public. Nothing bad, it's just that some things that we have to make a decision about are personal matters to a particular camper. And it would be way inappropriate for us to be discussing that in front of everybody. We think of it this way. Would you want some of your personal things to be discussed in front of everybody in the park? So we don't do that, and we hold an executive session so that people's privacy is respected. And we're going to go into an executive session after this, and if we get some more questions, we'll answer some questions. And maybe we'll go into an executive session. We'll go into executive session in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, so that would be, by my watch, 6:15. And in the interim, if you have questions, please send them in.